November 1st, 2022. I have my interview today to become a US citizen. Yes! I passed my interview. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I'm just going to calm down. Okay. Yes, everything went fine.
Girl, I see your face everywhere. When I'm going out, you'll be there. 'Cause everything reminds me of you.
Hello, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. My name is Joy. I'm a content creator living in the United States of America. On this channel, I make videos about food, vlog, lifestyle, and I also give tips about life abroad, especially life in the US. And if these are the things that you love, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, share the video, like, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I post any video. On today's video, I'll be sharing with you on how to apply for your N400 application form for US citizenship. And I'm going to be sharing with you my own timeline, how long it took me for me to get my interview appointment. I will also share with you the documentations that you need during the application process and the documentations that you'll be needing during your interview. And I'll also be sharing with you the interview process, what you need to study before your interview appointment, and all the tips that will help you out during and after the application process of your N400 form for US citizenship. So watch this video to the end so you don't miss out on any of the information that I'll be giving to you on today's video. This video, I've been putting it off for a very long time. It's been long overdue. So my timeline, I applied March 2022 and I got my interview date for November 2022. I did not go for any biometrics because they already had my biometrics in their system during my green card application process. And so they informed me that I didn't have to come in for any biometrics. So they reused my biometrics from my green card application. And so my timeline took 8 months. So I applied March and I went for my interview November, which makes it 8 months, and I passed my interview. Before you begin the application process, the first thing you need to do is to determine your eligibility. To be eligible, you have to be 18 years of age as at the time you're filing the N400 form. You have to be a permanent resident for 5 years, or if you're applying through marriage, you have to have been married for 3 years to a US citizen. You have to have lived within the states, the districts, within 3 months. Show that you have been present and you have lived in the United States for at least a certain period of time, like 30 months. Those are the things that you need to know before you even start the application process. So if you meet those eligibility requirements, then you are ready for your application. There are 2 ways to file for your N400 form. The first is you can go to their website, USCIS.gov, and then you can fill out the application forms on the website. So you go to USCIS.gov. And when you come here, you go to forms, drop down this arrow here, and you are going to see a lot of options, and you're going to look for N400 application for naturalization. You click on that. You can also check your eligibility here if you're not sure, and then you click this option that says file online, and it will bring you to this page where you have to sign in with your account if you already have an account. If you don't, then you can create an account here. You put your email address here, confirm your email here, and then you sign up before you begin your application process. The second option is to print out the application form, this form, and fill out every information on this form with a black pen, and then you have to send it through the mail if you're using the paper choice. Myself, I did mine. I sent mine through the mail because I wanted to be sure. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing out anything, but the online application is faster than sending it through the mail, because if you apply online, you will get a faster response online, but the mail process takes like a week or so before you can hear back from them, or even up to 10 days before they can send you a mail. And then you will have to go in and create an account so that you can monitor your application and know when they need any information. But before you submit your application, before you hit send, if you are using the online process, make sure that you print out your forms before you hit send, because you're going to study those forms before your interview. And if you're sending it by mail, make sure you photocopy everything. When you're using the mail option and you're printing out the applications, make sure that you print them single-sided and not double-sided. Do not send any of your original documents when you are sending out your N400 form, because they will not return it back to you unless they ask for it. Every document that you need to submit with your application, or if you're sending it through the mail, has to be photocopies. Never make the mistake of sending any of your original documents to them during the application, because you might not get it back when you do that. And here are all the documentations you're going to need during your application process. During the application process, you don't really need an attorney. You can actually fill out these forms yourself. But if you're not comfortable doing it yourself and you're capable of paying an attorney for it, you can do that. It's up to you, but it is very easy. It's not something that you have to worry yourself about. I would advise, if you're filling out these forms online, or even if you're sending it through the mail, that you print out these instruction pages of the N400 form. This is going to help you a lot. Make sure you go through these pages one after the other, one at a time. Read through the instruction pages and make sure that you follow all the instructions on this page. Now, back to the documents that you need to submit your applications with. You need a photocopy of your green card, both sides, and don't forget, single-sided, not double-sided. Don't make any copies double-sided for USCIS. Everything has to be single-sided. A check or a money order of the application fee, which is $845. That's including the biometrics fee. So the application fee is $760 and the biometrics fee is $85. So that totals it to $845. Photocopies of your marriage certificate or your divorce certificate if you're divorced. Photocopies of your spouse's naturalization certificate. If you're married to a US citizen, you're going to need a photocopy of their own naturalization certificate. Photocopies of birth certificates of all your children, your adopted children, your stepchildren, if you have any. You need photocopies of everybody in the family, because you're going to include them in the application form. Photocopy of your birth certificate abroad, or if you have like affidavits or anything that shows your birth certificate, photocopy of your spouse's birth certificate if you're filing through marriage. You also need a photocopy of your joint bank account with your spouse. You also need a photocopy of your tax returns. For your tax returns, I will recommend your tax transcripts instead, because tax returns, there are a lot of papers. So you can go to IRS and request for 5 years tax transcripts. That was what I did when I filed my own. I went to IRS and I requested for 5 years tax transcripts. Those are few pages and they will be easy to submit your application with, instead of taking all your tax application form and sending it to USCIS. It's going to be a lot of papers. So I would recommend you request for your tax transcript from irs.gov and they will send everything to you. And by the way, you can actually file for your application 90 days before your 5 years green card anniversary, or 90 days before your 3 years anniversary to a US citizen if you're filing through marriage. If you were married before, you need photocopies of your divorce decree from your previous marriage. Ever been arrested or detained, or you have ever gotten a ticket for any reason, you need the photocopies of all the documentations of everything, every of your arrest details, everything that happened before you filed your application. You need all those photocopies to go along with your forms to submit together with your forms online, or send together if you're sending it through the mail. And you can also find every documentations that you need during the application process and during your interview on this document checklist. This comes in handy. I would recommend that you print it out and keep it with you while you're filing this application, so that you can check everything on here and make sure that you have all the right documents before you hit send on that website, or before you send it through the mail. It is very important, because any little mistake, if you miss out any of the documentations, it could delay it further, because they will request for additional documents and then you have to send it back to them, and that delays the process. It prolongs the process. And we also list the documentations during your application process in the description of this video. And so after you submit your application and after you send your application in the mail, so now you have to wait for them to respond to you. If they require a biometric from you, they will let you know. If they are reusing your biometrics, they will also let you know that they have your biometrics in their database, so you don't need to come in for biometrics. Whether you require a biometrics or not, you must pay the $85 biometric fee. So while you wait for your interview appointment, you have to study and study and study. You need to study your application forms. That's why I said you need to print them out before you submit them. You need to study it from the first page to the last page. Those 20 pages, you have to know every information on that form. You need to study the 2008 civic test. There are 100 civic tests. You have to study the 100 questions and know every of the questions and the answers. When it's ready for your interview appointment, they will send you a notice in the mail, or you can also find it online when you check your account, and then you can print it out. You need to go with all the original documentations of every document that you submitted with your N400 forms. The originals are the things you need to go along with during your interview, with your interview notice letter. So during your interview, there are 3 versions of the interview. The first interview is going to be your N400 form. The questions are going to come from your N400 form. Everything you filled out on that form, they are going to ask you questions from beginning of the page to the end of the page. So that's why you need to study your N400 application form after you send it to USCIS. If you traveled outside the country before or after you filed your N400 form, make sure you have all the documents, all the dates, because you're going to fill them out inside the N400 forms. So you need to know everything: your travel, your trips outside the country, where you went to, the dates you traveled, how many times you've traveled. You need to be aware of how many times you have traveled outside the US before or after you filed your N400 forms. And if any event after you filed, and maybe you got divorced in the process, or maybe you gave birth to a child, or maybe something tragic happened, you're going to need the record of everything. You're going to need the birth certificate of the new baby that was not inside the N400 form. You're going to need a marriage certificate if you got married between that time of your waiting period. So you're going to pay attention and make sure that you have all the documentations. I will list everything in the description of this video, the documentations that you need during your application process and the documentations you need during your interview. Then the second part of the question is the civic test, the 2008 100 civic tests. You have to know these questions, you have to know the answers. They are going to ask you 10 questions. Out of the 10 questions, you're required to answer 6 questions correctly. And if during the process you answered 6 questions on a row, they will stop asking you questions. But you must get 6 questions out of 10 questions correctly for you to pass the civic tests. So they will ask you randomly any question out of the 100 questions. That's why it's very important for you to study the civic questions. You can download the civic test questions on your app, whatever phone you're using. That will be of help. And the third part of the interview is your English knowledge, both writing and reading. They are going to have something on the screen and ask you to read it aloud, and then you're going to read it and they will ask you to write it as well, and then you will write it and show that you are knowledgeable of English language. So there are 3 versions of the tests. I will repeat that: your N400 application forms, the 2008 version 100 civic tests, and then your knowledge of English language, both writing and reading. These are all you need to know for your interview. And my advice to you, whatever you do, please do not miss your interview date. If you have any trips planned, and if it is not emergency, please cancel the trip. Do not miss your interview date. I mean, you can cancel your interview. You can call them and cancel your interview. But to get another interview date is going to be another waiting period for you. That's why it is very important that you go for your interview. If nothing is emergency, please do not miss out on your interview date. Make sure you go for your interview. Don't miss it for whatever reason. Also, go 15 minutes before your time. Don't go too early. You have to be there like at least 15 minutes before your interview time. Dress appropriately. You might be lucky and then you get your oath ceremony on the same day. That's why it's important to dress appropriately, just like you're going to your regular job interview. Also, do not be afraid. Don't be scared. Just study and just be ready. Once you go there, when they call you, just be confident in yourself. You can do it. As long as you studied your N400 forms, you studied the 100 civic tests, and of course, you can also show your knowledge of English language, then you will be fine. So do not be afraid of anything. Just go out there, have your interview, and I know you're going to do great. I wish all of you that are planning on going for your interviews or that are planning on starting the application process, good luck. Your waiting period might be shorter, your waiting period might be longer, but whatever period yours is, wait for it. Don't miss out on your interview date, because it might be hard for you to get another interview date because these people are too busy, they are backlogged. So make sure you go for your interview. On my next video, I'll be talking about the oath ceremony, the naturalization process, the things you need to update after you get your certificate, and how to apply for your US passports. That's going to be my next video, and I hope that this video was of helpful for those of you out there who are planning on applying for your N400 application form for US citizenship. I hope that this will help you a lot along the way, and if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed today's video, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, share, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when I post my next video about the oath ceremony. Until next time, take care.